AITA for telling my cheating fiancé and my lying mom to go to hell after discovering their affair and my brother's true parentage? Hey, Reddit, I need to know if I'm the asshole in this mess of a situation. So, my name is Sylvie, and up until a few weeks ago, I thought my life was pretty good. I'm 29, engaged to this great guy named Boyd, and we've been together for 3 years. We were planning our wedding, and everything seemed perfect. My family was involved, and my mom, Celeste, was especially excited. My dad passed away when I was young, so it's always been just me, my mom, and my younger brother, Taron. Now, my mom and Boyd always got along really well. Sometimes I'd even joke that Boyd was more excited to see her than me. Looking back, I wish I'd never made those jokes. But hey, hindsight is 20/20ths, right? It all started to go downhill when Boyd started acting weird. He was secretive, on his phone a lot, and coming home late from work. At first, I thought maybe he was just stressed about the wedding, but when he started canceling plans with me and seemed distant, I knew something was up. I confronted him, and he brushed it off, saying it was just work. One night, Boyd was out late again, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was seriously wrong. So, I decided to do something I'd never done before. I snooped. I know, it's not something I'm proud of, but I was desperate. I went through his laptop and found an email account I didn't recognize. When I logged in, my heart sank. There were dozens of emails between Boyd and my mom. They were talking about their affair. I was in shock. I couldn't believe what I was reading. The man I was about to marry and my own mother were having an affair. I felt like my entire world was collapsing. I didn't know what to do, so I sat on the couch, numb and shaking. I waited for Boyd to come home. When he finally walked in, I couldn't hold it in any longer. I threw the laptop at him and screamed, "What the fuck is this, Boyd?" His face went pale. He tried to deny it at first, but I had all the proof I needed. He broke down and admitted everything. He begged for my forgiveness, saying it was a mistake, and he loved me. I was furious. I couldn't even look at him. I kicked him out of the house and told him to never come back. After he left, I knew I had to confront my mom. I drove to her house in a rage. When she opened the door, she looked surprised to see me. I shoved the laptop in her face and demanded an explanation. Celeste tried to justify it, saying she was lonely and Boyd was there for her. She said it started after she had too much to drink one night, and it just happened. She even tried to make me feel bad by saying it was my fault for being too busy with work and wedding planning. I couldn't believe the audacity. I told her she was dead to me and stormed out. As if things couldn't get any worse, I got a call from my brother Taron the next day. He heard about the blow-up from Mom and wanted to check on me. We met up at a local diner, and I told him everything. He was just as shocked and angry as I was. While we were talking, he let something slip that caught my attention. He said, I can't believe she did this again." Again? I pressed him on what he meant. At first he was reluctant, but eventually he spilled the beans. Apparently my mom had a history of cheating, and there was a family secret she never wanted me to know. Taron revealed that he overheard a conversation between our mom and Dad years ago. Dad found out Mom had an affair around the time Taron was born, and there was a chance that Taron might not be his biological son. My dad chose to stay and raise Taron as his own, but it always lingered in the back of his mind. My world was spinning. Not only did I lose my fiancé and my mom in one blow, but now I found out my brother might not even be my full brother. I convinced Taron to take a DNA test. I needed to know the truth. While we waited for the DNA results, I tried to piece my life back together. I moved in with a friend and started seeing netted Shahanang like a therapist. The wedding was called off, and I cut all contact with Boyd and my mom. The betrayal was too deep. A couple of weeks later, the DNA results came in. Taron wasn't my dad's son. He was the product of my mom's affair. Taron was devastated. He idolized our dad and felt like his entire identity was ripped away. He struggled to come to terms with it, and I felt so helpless. I confronted my mom again, demanding answers. She cried and apologized, but it felt hollow. She tried to justify her actions by saying she was young and made mistakes, but it didn't matter. The damage was done. I told her I couldn't have her in my life anymore. The betrayal was too deep. It's been a few months now, and every day feels like a roller coaster of emotions. After everything came crashing down, I knew I couldn't stay in the same town, surrounded by the same people, with the memories of betrayal haunting me at every corner. So I decided to pack up and move to a new city. Fresh start, right? Moving was a bitch. I had to find a new apartment, a new job, and basically rebuild my life from scratch. I moved into this tiny apartment in a neighborhood that was, let's say, up and coming. My new place is a little rough around the edges, but it's mine, and I can breathe here. The first few nights alone were the hardest. I'd lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying everything in my head. I felt like a complete idiot for not seeing the signs. I mean, how could I have been so blind? Boyd was always so charming, and my mom, well, she was my mom. I never thought in a million years she'd betray me like that. I cried myself to sleep more times than I can count, but I knew I had to get up every morning and keep going. Therapy has been a lifesaver. I found a great therapist, Dr. Jensen, who doesn't bullshit me. In our sessions, she lets me rant and cry, but she also makes me face the hard truths. One of the hardest things was dealing with the fact that my mom's betrayal wasn't just about the affair. It was about her entire history of deceit. I realized that I'd been wearing rose-colored glasses when it came to her. Dr. Jensen helped me see that it wasn't my fault, and that I needed to stop blaming myself for their shitty choices. Taron has been my rock through all of this. After getting the DNA results, he went through his own crisis, but we've leaned on each other a lot. We talk almost every day, and he visits as often as he can. He's struggling too, trying to figure out who he is now that he knows our dad wasn't his biological father. We've decided to find his biological dad, but it's a slow and painful process. We don't have a lot to go on, just some old names and vague memories our mom shared in her few moments of honesty. I'm slowly starting to make new friends here. I joined a book club, which sounds super lame, but it's actually been great. It's a diverse group of people, and we talk about everything from literature to life. It's helped me feel less alone. There's this one guy, Miles, who's been really supportive. He knows about my past because I had a breakdown during one of our meetings, and he was there for me. I'm not ready for anything romantic, but it's nice to have someone who understands. Work has been a challenge, but it's also a distraction. I got a job at a marketing firm, and I've thrown myself into it. My boss, Alana, is a tough-as-nails woman who doesn't take shit from anyone. She reminds me of the person I want to be, strong, independent, and unapologetic. She's become a bit of a mentor to me, pushing me to do better and be better. I've also started working out more. It's a great way to channel my anger and frustration. I joined a kickboxing class, and there's something incredibly satisfying about punching the hell out of a bag. My trainer, Lexi, is a badass with a no-nonsense attitude. She's helped me get stronger, both physically and mentally. One of the most cathartic things I did was writing letters to Boyd and my mom. I didn't send them, but just getting all my anger and hurt out on paper felt like a weight lifting off my shoulders. In Boyd's letter, I told him how deeply he hurt me, how he shattered my trust, and how I hope he never does this to anyone else. To my mom, I wrote about the betrayal, the lies, and the pain she caused not just me, but Taron too. I let out all the rage and heartbreak I'd been carrying, and then I burned the letters. It felt symbolic, like I was finally letting go of some of the pain. I'm still working on forgiveness, but not for them, for myself. I need to forgive myself for being naive, for not seeing the signs, and for letting them hurt me. It's a process, and I have good days and bad days. Some days, I feel like I'm on top of the world, ready to take on anything. Other days, I feel like I'm drowning in my own sadness. One of the hardest parts is dealing with the loneliness. There are moments when I feel so isolated, like no one could possibly understand what I'm going through. But then I remind myself of the people who have stood by me. Taron, my new friends, my therapist, my kickboxing trainer. They're my support system, and I'm grateful for them every day. To anyone reading this who's been through something similar, know that you're not alone. It's okay to feel broken, to be angry, and to take your time to heal. Don't rush the process. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, and don't be afraid to ask for help.